generation just found its voice.
America's first competition talk show.
The Hub is engaging.
Talk Life.
Good day and welcome to The Hub. I'm your host, Joel Aaron. Glad to have you with us all week long on The Hub Internet Show. We're joined this week by Charles in Charge, who is going to be on the program for his first time. Do not adjust your television. You have gotten past the introduction. You've seen him 1,000 times in the intro, just never on the show. Also, Greg, who's with us again this week. And, he's been on the program before, but he's coming back for more because he didn't get enough abuse last time. And also, Nate, fresh back from kicking the dog and beating his wife on the program again this week. And it's beat her. And we're just glad to have everybody here. It's just one big happy. There are a lot of reasons why people are upset with Washington, D.C. these days, not the least of which the Senate, the financial reform bill that passed last week out of the Senate, passed from the House earlier. And now we are straddled with this. And here's the thing. This bill is atrocious. Because the new rules that we applied to finance under this financial reform bill will apply to ATM transactions, will basically apply to all financial transactions you do. It was pitched to us as a way of ensuring that we were no longer going to have a 2008 financial crisis again. This would remedy that. This would remedy the bad players on Wall Street. Turns out it regulates them. It also regulates every financial transaction virtually that you will make in your life. 2,300 pages of this thing, and it creates 10 new regulatory agencies with the power to create hundreds of new regulations. And guys, your feedback on this, but I honestly believe that whereas before we had, the Federal Reserve Act 1913, 17th Amendment, where the powers of coinage and whatnot were basically ripped out of the hands. Honestly, they weren't ripped out. Congress voluntarily gave them up. Now, you don't have the lobbyists lobbying Congress anymore. They will be lobbying bureaucrats in agencies within the Federal Reserve. And I guess that's a campaign promise fulfilled. Barack Obama, you told us that you were going to get rid of the lobbyist interests on Capitol Hill. Well, you have, because you gave them somewhere else to go. The bureaucratic agencies in Washington, D.C. Greg, where do you see us headed from here?
I mean, we're headed off the proverbial cliff, and we really have Scott Brown to thank, because he was that crucial last vote that we thought that when we elected him on January 19th that we'd have a filibuster back. But Scott Brown, I think we need to change his name to Scott Blue, because he seems to like to vote for that side of the aisle and for a 2,300-page bill that doesn't address Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and many other issues that could cause another calamity. And it was written by Christopher Dodd and Barney Frank. Well, need I say more?
Well, but I mean, that's coming in the next bill, because you can't have too much of a good thing in one bill. You got to get that one in the next bill. I can't shoehorn everything in at once. Charles, may I call you Chuck?
Absolutely. Call me Chuck.
Chuckalicious. All right, Chuck. Question. I mean, one of the things in this bill is something that's near and dear to folks who use plastic all the time to make their purchases, because plastic makes it possible. Is that when you go to the grocery store and you're buying your milk and eggs, you can ask for credit or debit. And up to this point, you've been able to. The merchant will ask you credit or debit. One of the things that this finance reform bill does is it takes the power out of the hands of consumers. I don't get to determine that anymore. The merchant determines that. To me, that's really a bad thing if I like using the cards for a lot of reasons. What do you think?
Actually, I 100% totally agree with you. I think it should be up to me or my wife whether we want to use credit or debit. I don't think the government or any of the merchants should be able to determine whether we should use our debit card as a credit card or vice versa. I mean, I don't even think you can use a credit card as a debit card. I'm not sure. Can you? I don't know. Can you?
Well, it's the same way. But you don't get the free air miles.
That is correct. If I've got my Amex and I'm wanting to, I get 1 mile for every, $10 or whatever it is, or, and I can't do that anymore, I'm going to be pretty upset, because most people rely on things like points and their air miles to, so they don't have to save their extra money when they go on vacation and things like that. So personally, I disagree. I think that should be left with the choice of the people.
Well, you've got, Nate, you've got guys like Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner saying that this bill will award the prudent and restrain the imprudent, and then you got Senator Richard Shelby, saying it's a 2,300-page monster that you just want to put back in the closet, but you can't.
I wonder how much does it weigh, you know? Well, you know, the thing on the table. But, hey, it's the same thing that they did back in 1913. They had a run on the bank, and then the Federal Reserve came in and said, hey, give us all the power and we'll fix everything. Hey, we had a collapse in 2008. Now they say, hey, give us even more power and we'll fix it better, you know?
Yeah.
So that's it. And then, you know, you got people like Timothy Geithner who, you know, wasn't he head of the
New York Bank.
The New York Bank.
Yeah, New York.
And that wasn't a very prominent bank, was it?
Yeah, well, the New York Fed. New York Fed. New York level of the Fed. It's just, I mean, there are so many different groups here, the agencies that are being created by this. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission. It regulates derivatives. They want $45 million for startup costs. I don't know what the last time that I checked, when you've got 30 team leaders, this is teams within this agency, not individuals, 30 people, 30 teams of people that they're looking to regulate derivatives. The Federal Reserve has the new Consumer Financial Predatory Agency, which, if you've learned anything about the players here, Elizabeth Warren is the character that was put in charge of a lot of the oversight of developing the Consumer Financial Predatory Agency. And she's the front runner now to be the director, the acting director of this thing, which will be appointed by the president himself. I mean, when you look back at this woman's history, Heather Boone, who was a fellow worker with her, held a financial forum with her back in April. Heather Boone is a woman she's an SDSer. She was a politically active in the 60s and 70s and had held protests against Wall Street on Wall Street. And the two of them are holding a forum on how to regulate Wall Street. Don't tell me that Elizabeth Warren doesn't have some sort of an agenda, Greg.
Well, I mean, it seems like she does, and I guess this is the only way the Obama administration can create jobs, is by creating bigger government and bigger bureaucracy.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately. I mean, I'll throw this out here because the Council of Regulators, they're going to monitor the economic risks. They're going to police consumer financial products. I guess we don't need Consumer Reports anymore because now we have this agency. But ultimately, the Democrats are saying this is going to restore confidence in the markets and stave off a future collapse. Nate?
No. It's going to cause more problems. It's going to cause many, many more problems, and people are going to hate it.
Yeah,
they're going to hate it.
It's more trouble than it's worth. Well, I'll tell you, somebody else hated a lot right now is Mel Gibson for his sort of his racist comments. Not racist, but these were just the hateful ones. These are And recently he was charged. They got audio of him screaming at his girlfriend, accusing him of beating her up and all these kind of things. Well, he sold his house now. He's thinking of moving out of the country back to Australia because he's enduring so much criticism here in the U.S. So the question on the Face-Off debate tonight, should Mel move back? Should Mel have sold the home? Should Mel have cashed in the chips? Good move, bad move? Has he got another life left to live? 90 seconds on the clock, 45 seconds per person. It's Charles versus Nate. And Nate, you get the first say. Go.
Hey, listen. If you're gonna beat a wife, beat a wife. And just be a man, and take the heat. I wouldn't go anywhere if I was Mel Gibson. I'll buy back my house and I'll do it again. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, like if you're gonna do something like that, you're just showing the yellow streak down your back when you just want to hop fence and go to another country, not another city, not another state. But another country.
Not just any country.
Australia.
A penal colony. Go figure. 45 seconds for the rebuttal. I think Nate put him in his place. Chuck, you get the rebuttal. Go.
Honestly, I think that this is probably the biggest and best move that Mel Gibson has made. I think he needs to get out while he can still get out. Because personally, if I was that woman's family, I'd be coming after him with a lot more than just, legal stuff. I'd have to put my hands on him. I'd have to put the boots on him. Personally, I don't know if you can go any further away than Australia, but if he could, he needs to go, because if I was part of this woman's family, yeah, we'd have some issues.
All right, well, it's a tussle. Don't mess with William.
Mad Mel Beyond Thunderdome.
Telling you, man. So, don't mess with William Wallace. We got another one to play. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hub.